On a quiet night in Ohio, near the banks of the Little Miami River, a strange creature was seen under the dim glow of streetlights. A creature unlike anything known to science. This is the story of the Loveland Frogman, one of America's strangest and most enduring cryptid legends. Our story begins in the early 1950s, a time of drive-in movies and rock and roll. A traveling businessman was driving through Loveland, a small town just outside Cincinnati. As he crossed a bridge late at night, his headlights caught something truly bizarre. Standing by the roadside were three humanoid figures, each about 3 feet tall. Their skin looked leathery, almost reptilian. They had wide, lipless mouths, bulging eyes, and webbed hands. Then, according to the man, one of the creatures raised a small, wand-like device that shot out a shower of sparks. Terrified, the man stomped on the accelerator and sped away. His story, as you can imagine, spread like wildfire throughout the area. Locals began calling the beings the Loveland Frogmen, and a legend was born. For nearly 2 decades, things went quiet. The tale of the Frogman became a local spooky story, something to tell the kids around a campfire. But then, in 1972, the creature returned, and this time, the witnesses were police officers. It was March 3rd, 1972, around 1 a.m. Officer Ray Shockey was on patrol, driving along the icy Riverside Road. Suddenly, a strange animal darted out in front of his patrol car. It was crouched at first, but then stood up on 2 legs. It stood about 1 meter tall, with leathery skin and the unmistakable face of a frog. Officer Shockey slammed on his brakes, his heart pounding. The creature stared at him for a moment, before it gracefully leaped over the guardrail and vanished into the darkness toward the river below. When Shockey described the creature to his fellow officers, he was met with a mix of disbelief and ridicule. But he wouldn't be the only officer to have an encounter. Just 2 weeks later, Officer Mark Matthews was investigating a report of a large animal lying in the road. As he approached, he saw it, the same frog-like creature Officer Shockey had described. Thinking it was an injured or dangerous animal, Matthews drew his weapon. The creature slowly stood up, its eyes fixed on him. Matthews fired a shot. He wasn't trying to kill it, but to confirm what he was seeing, and perhaps disable it. The creature wasn't hit, but the gunshot seemed to startle it. It scrambled over the guardrail and disappeared, just like it had before. Matthews later returned to the scene and noted scratch marks on the guardrail where the creature had climbed over. The second sighting, by another police officer, added a layer of credibility that was hard to ignore. The Loveland Frogman was no longer just a campfire story. Of course, with such incredible stories come a wave of skepticism. For decades, people have tried to explain the Loveland Frogman. One of the most popular theories suggests that the creature was simply a large, misidentified iguana, perhaps an escaped pet that had lost its tail. A large iguana, when startled, can stand on its hind legs and run, which could look humanoid from a distance, especially at night. This could explain the leathery skin and reptilian appearance. Others believe it was all just an elaborate prank, or perhaps a local urban legend fueled by fear and the power of imagination. After all, the riverbanks at night can play tricks on the mind. Could a shadow, a log, or a common animal be transformed into a monster by a frightened witness? However, what keeps the legend alive is the consistency between the sightings. A businessman in the 50s and 2 police officers in the 70s, decades apart, described a remarkably similar creature. That consistency raises questions that simple explanations can't easily answer. Was it possible that an unknown species of amphibian-like creature was really living along the Little Miami River? Just when it seemed the Frogman had faded back into myth, the legend resurfaced in the digital age. In the summer of 2016, the world was obsessed with Pokemon Go. 2 teenagers, Sam Jacobs and his girlfriend, were playing the game late one night near Lake Isabella, not far from the original sighting locations. As they hunted for virtual creatures, they stumbled upon a real one. They claimed a large humanoid frog emerged from the water and stood on its hind legs. Its eyes seemed to glow in the darkness. Sam managed to pull out his phone and record a short video. Within hours, the footage went viral. Local news channels picked up the story, and suddenly, the Loveland Frogman was a global phenomenon. The video is shaky and dark, showing a silhouetted figure with large glowing eyes. But was it real? Skeptics were quick to point out that it could easily be a hoax, a cleverly staged prank to capitalize on the local legend. Interestingly, a few days later, Sam Jacobs himself came forward and admitted that the video was a fake. He said he had simply put a frog costume on a friend and used CGI for the eyes. But here's where it gets strange. In a later interview, he changed his story again, claiming he only said it was a fake to get people to leave him alone, and that what he saw that night was absolutely real. This back and forth only added more fuel to the fire, leaving everyone to wonder, was it a confession or a cover-up? Whether a real creature or an elaborate hoax, the Loveland Frogman has undeniably become a cherished part of Ohio's folklore identity. What once terrified the small town is now a source of local pride and amusement. You can find Frogman-themed t-shirts, coffee mugs, and even a local musical based on the legend. There are festivals and events held in its honor, celebrating the strange tale that put Loveland on the map. The creature has been featured in countless books, television shows, and podcasts about cryptids and the unexplained. This transformation from a figure of fear into a beloved local mascot is a perfect example of how myths and legends evolve over time. They become part of a community's story, a way to connect with the past and embrace the mystery in our own backyards. So, what is the truth about the Loveland Frogman? Was it an unknown species of animal, a bizarre genetic mutation, or perhaps even a visitor from another world, as the sparks from the wand in the first sighting might suggest? Or was it simply the product of human imagination, a collection of misidentifications and told tales that grew into something much larger? The truth may never be known for certain. The answers may be lost to the mists of time, hidden in the murky waters of the Little Miami River. But perhaps that's the real power of the legend. It endures because some stories are simply too strange, too fascinating to disappear. They challenge our understanding of the world and remind us that there might still be mysteries lurking just beyond the glow of our streetlights. This is the tale of the Loveland Frogman, a small creature that has left a very big mark on America's mythology. Thanks for joining us on this journey into the unknown. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more explorations of strange legends and unsolved mysteries. Let us know in the comments what you think. Was the Frogman real? We'd love to hear your theories. See you next time.